back. I've missed you all so much, friends. Promise me we'll never be separated again. To commemorate our triumphant return, we're going to have a look today at Umbra Via, our provided review copy coming to us from developer Pandasaurus Games, which we featured on our channel before with Tammany Hall and The Mind. This strategy game featuring tile laying and blind bidding was designed by Connor Wake, who I had the distinct pleasure of beating during my demo game a while back. Connor, if you're watching, no hard feelings? Let me guide you through the dark passages of this one, friends, because despite its name, it's awfully bright. Past the weedy tangled box art, we'll find our 12-page rulebook, replete with colorful and clear examples of each of the game's phases. Delving deeper, we find the altar board and main board. Both of these have a concerning thinness to the binds and a noticeable rough cut on the edge. Something to keep an eye on long term. Removing the 4 colorful player screens, we'll reveal the game's insert that houses all the tiles and player tokens very, very neatly, making setup a breeze. Speaking of which, let's get some transition graphics in here so I can show you how Umbra Via works. We find our table already set up for a 3-player game. Thank you, 2 minutes ago, me. The main board and altar board go in the middle, with each player screen hiding a bidding board. Each colored player bag has 38 flower tokens inside, 6 of which are lighter colored soul flowers. The remaining soul flowers are placed here on the soul tiles. Removing these to your bag is the only way to win in Umbra Via. You're going to claim these soul flower tokens whenever a path gets completed on the main board. Once your tile is empty, you'll need to be able to claim the last 2 depicted on the tile itself in order to win. So, every round of Umbra Via has 3 phases. The first is the setup, which is just revealing the top 4 path tiles on the stack. Because of the way tile laying in Umbra Via works, these will need to be revealed in such a way as to not rotate them at all when placing them down. The orientation of the tiles can't be changed once revealed, ever. Phase 2 is bidding. This is a secret auction phase where you're going to bid 3 drawn flower tokens on the tiles here, but you're going to place your bids on your own bidding board. Draw 3 random tokens from your bag and decide how you want those allocated. I, for some unknown reason, really want tile number 2, so I'm going to place all of my drawn tokens on that space on my bidding board. Once everyone is done bidding, you'll all remove your player screens and then place the bidded tokens on their respective tiles. Now, everyone's going to put their player screens back and do the exact same thing again. Draw 3 tokens and place them on the bidding board. The trick is that now you have a little bit more information about who wants what to guide your second bid. Reveal your second bid and place those tokens as before. The third round is placement, and this is where the real action happens. If any tiles have no tokens on them, they are discarded, like the unwanted paths they are. The remaining tiles are assigned a placement order based on how many physical tokens are on each tile. Don't worry, I'm getting to the difference between the lighter colored soul flowers and the darker energy flowers in a second. This tile has 4 tokens on it, so it is assigned number 1. This tile also has 4 tokens on it, so we are going to break that tie with a left to right order, giving that one second, and finally this tile has 1 for third. Next, you'll determine who won each tile. Value of the darker energy tokens is 1, and the lighter soul flower tokens is 2. Each player gets a total value, and whoever has the most gets to decide where the tile is placed on the main board. Now is when you'll remove all of these soul flowers from the tile and remove them from play. Bidded soul flowers are the mayflies of Umbra Via. Placement on the main board has rules as well. Remember that the tile can't be rotated at all. It must go down in the same orientation as it shows. If there are no tiles on the board, it must go in one of the 4 center spots. Once a tile exists on the board, the next tile to be placed must go orthogonally adjacent, a term only board gamers use, to an existing tile. Of note here is that the tile doesn't necessarily need to be placed opening to opening. You're more than welcome to shut off a path with a wall like this. If placing a tile causes an existing path to be completely shut off, for example, if it were like this, then a summoning occurs. You will assess the full path of tiles and count each player's energy flowers on the path. Whoever has the most will earn 1 soul flower on that player's tile. Remember, previously spent soul flowers are mayflies. They are gone and dead. Do not mourn them. for they had a good life. If the path was 2 tiles or longer and there was another player on the path, the second place player would get half as many soul flowers as the winner, rounded down. If the path was long enough such that a 3rd or 4th place player would receive at least 1 soul flower, then assign those as well. Place all earned flowers into the bag as well as the energy flowers from the path. Once clean, remove the tile to the discard pile, and now it is time to begin a new round with 4 new tiles to bid on. Phew! So, why is Umbra Via worth your shelf space? Spoiler, it is. The balance of this game is as delicate as the depicted flowers, forcing players to make interesting decisions on a blind bid. A couple players in my group dislike blind bidding because so rarely do you have any information on which to work except a vague understanding of what other players want. Here, separating the bid into 2 separate bids and letting everyone see the outcome of the first adds a delightful tension. You can pivot out of a plan that clearly isn't going to work, or you can press even harder hoping that the other players will back off. Also, the etheric nature of the soul flowers, being great for winning tiles but not helping you keep the path, adds a whole nother layer of strategy. Drawing them out of your bag can be exactly what you want or exactly what you don't, and I love that anxiety. Area control working with tile laying is also a neat twist here because your quote-unquote workers are already on the tile before it's laid. Knowing exactly what that tile is going to do depending on where you put it is again balanced nicely with the close quarters of the board and not being able to rotate the tile at all. Losing a tile during a bid to an opponent who can place it somewhere totally opposite from where you'd want it with your precious soul flowers on it? Well, that's a special kind of pain. One of the concerns I have with Umbra Via is that it's not very colorblind friendly. It's hard to tell at a glance for those players who's controlling which path, and asking for a count from someone else is not only annoying to have to do, but could tip off the other players on where your focus is. Additionally, the soul flowers being a pastel version of your main color can get a little dodgy in some dining room lighting situations, though this ended up being less of an issue than I thought. Still, some colorblind players won't be able to play this game at all without help, and that is a huge bummer. All that being said, I love Umbra Via and Connor Wake's design. The first game I played of this during the press demo was actually against Connor, and I won, so it was very tempting to retire from the game completely with a perfect record. However, the game's just too good not to break out again. If the mechanics are your thing and the colors of the tokens don't get in your way, Umbra Via is worth a very, very long look at your FLGS right now. Umbra Via ends up being a quick, delicious game that has more thinking than you'd expect given the time frame you can play it in. Blind bidding is a favorite mechanic of mine, and not being able to rotate or otherwise manipulate the tiles takes some of the analysis paralysis edge out of play. Let's go through our checklist before I give you my final thoughts. In the box, rulebook clear and non-gender pronouns. For a game that's mostly black and white, the rulebook is colorful and provides tons of clear examples every step of the way. The rulebook in my box has an explanation error in it, which is unfortunate, but there's an updated rulebook already up on BoardGameGeek, which I've linked to in the description below. Each phase of the game is explained clearly, and it's all done without the use of gendered pronouns. Iconography clear. Umbra Via uses no iconography at all on the table, unless you want to count the last 2 flowers on the soul tile. Given that those are the only pieces in the game, I think our viewers are smart enough to figure out what's what. Packaging well done. While the player screens are a little awkward in the box and the boards don't really have a place to live, everything else fits neatly into the insert, and Umbra Via will live very nicely on your shelf vertically, which is really all I want at the end of a long day. On the table, good representation. We're playing an abstract game here, so there are no characters or creatures to assess. Just these blooming flowers and your own cunning. Component quality, medium to high. The canvas bags feel nice, though mine are already starting to fray a little near the drawstring holes and along the top seams. The wooden flower tokens feel nice, if a bit small, and my main concern, that it would be difficult to tell the soul flowers apart from each other on the table, turns out to be a non-issue, unless you're a colorblind gamer. I have a slight concern about the rough cut on the boards and whether or not they'll hold up over time, though. TBD there. Replay value. Very high. Even though there are only 3 types of tiles, the fact that you can't rotate them at all means that every shuffle of the stack is going to make for some very interesting paths. Being able to connect a closed edge to a path provides for some spicy choices as well. I fully expect to be able to get this one to my table over and over on smaller player count nights. Fun to lose. Sometimes. Most of the games we played were close, and the fact that there are 2 rounds of blind bidding before tiles are assigned to the board means that you can pivot your strategy quickly if things aren't working out. Still, losing out on the bidding over and over again will get tiring, and given the dynamics of 3 and 4 player bids, it's possible. That's definitely an outlying case though. Most of the time you're going to be winning and losing tiles just as much as your friends, so games are going to often come down to a large bid right at the end. Umbra Via scratches a very specific itch for me, and like a mosquito bite in the summer, it feels so good. Stevo Torres' graphic design is both elegant and simple, and combined with artist Eddie Skio, the game is visually very appealing for me. Add to that the intuitive, simple yet deviously strategic gameplay, and it's very hard not to recommend Umbra Via wholeheartedly. If I had one additional complaint, it's that capping the player count at 4 limits how often I'll be able to get it to my table. However, as always, your mileage may vary. I'm Nicholas, reminding you to help protect the game population, always leave your cards. Hey everyone, if you liked our video, please hit that sub button and ring that bell for notifications. Check out all of our other offerings at goodluckhighfive.com, and please consider becoming a patron of the channel over at patreon.com/glhfmagic. It helps us keep making reviews, videos, podcasts, and you can become a member for any dollar amount. We're also always looking for new games to review. You can reach us at glhfmagic@gmail.com. You can follow me, Captain N, the Game Master, at CaptainNGM on Twitter and Instagram, and follow the channel at glhfmagic. Remember, please shop at your local game store whenever possible. Until next time, I'm Nicholas, and good luck. High five.